caravan with appropriate escort, which actually kind of makes sense that he would be. I mean, encountering them is one thing.
Yeah.
Being actually with them, I mean, hooking up with them upon encounter would probably be something he would do. No, because he's been contacted by the hunter. I had established that earlier in my preparation. And so that means that he is hurt. That's why I scooted him up 2 days in the time sequence, is because now he is hurrying. So, but the question is whether he's going to have trouble. These encounters are not like wandering monsters. They don't necessarily entail, a critical danger, unless they are in fact wandering monsters. Here and there. But to some extent, I mean, in an urban encounter, you meet a toy maker. Yeah. Okay, you meet a toy maker, right?
You meet the priest,
It is feral.
Toys, in a way. He opens the bag, the toys come out. Yeah, exactly.
It's chunky.
But for the most part, it's fairly, it's colorful.
Yeah.
So anyway, he got a good one for David, which is a caravan. That's in his zone, right?
Yeah.
So how about the other one?
But could it be like a caravan of refugees and they could be hungry and...
True, but that's the wrong road.
Okay, yeah.
Right. This is actually still a fairly safe-ish road.
Yeah.
That's exactly the same result. I'm not sure it's a new encounter. I think it just means he stayed with them.
Yeah, makes sense.
Until the hunter catches up with him.
Yeah.
And then that's actually the safest place he could be.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Really?
Yeah, he's a smart guy.
So, okay. That's where he's been. That solves a certain amount.
And then Osquin and Iver are sort of moving here.
Exactly right.
And he's moving up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So effectively within the course of the day, you guys are traveling as fast as you can with a wagon, and he's a small wagon, I imagine.
Oh, yeah.
And he's actually left behind the caravan, right, to come on horseback as fast as he can. So you will meet him much quicker than you expected, even before you have to spend the night out. So that's good.
Yeah. Sort of imagine that scene in Gone with the Wind, when they escape Atlanta.
I haven't seen it.
You should.
You should also watch Frankie Madera. Don't give it a
damn. All right.
I don't know nothing about birthing no babies.
That's before that. Yeah, immediately before. Yeah.
But okay, yes, there's the cloud of dust. There is your mentor on his horse. There is the hunter guy, I think, has enough brains to have delivered his message and then taken a left turn off into the woods. He decided that maybe eating rabbits out there in the woods for a while is a little better than all of these shenanigans that he saw back in Wessida. And he, is beginning to get the idea that it's not the healthiest bit of real estate. So,
smart guy.
Well, he's heard about monsters and he's,
He's taking his chances out there.
Exactly. I'll take the monsters that I haven't seen. So that's so I think we've seen the last of him. But on the other hand, Dafydd is very, very happy to see you.
Oh, yeah.
But he's also a little astonished. He's saying, where's Petrain? He's saying, where's the he's saying we have to put together the potions. We have to he should have those potions ready by now. I mean, I know I'm coming back a little bit early. As he's talking like this, and the expressions of both you and Ymir are sort of not confirming. There's no confirmation, no reassuring response. Maybe he kind of trails off.
Definitely. You might want to sit down for a bit.
He kind of pauses. There's silence, about that. And then he kind of looks at you and says, And
I think the situation has overtaken, events has overtaken your planning, I'm afraid, in this sort of situation. And I think Oswin can probably, continue on where the letter left off. I believe, she did send him a letter sort of explaining sort of how it's developing until like 5 days earlier or something like that, a week earlier.
right, but the real blow-ups hadn't occurred.
Yeah,
when
they
he sent
hadn't.
that letter.
So that's
Yeah.
that's why you should probably sit down now,
Right.
so she can explain exactly what's going on and why she's heading in the different other direction.
Monster.
Monster, the cult, the Agrek cult, the gangsters, sort of mafia. They're sort of they don't exist anymore. That's good actually, but the constable is really he's taking law and order seriously for once. Yeah.
He was really hoping for a bag of those properly minted coins that would be good money away from Tormel, right?
Yeah.
The,
I probably
the
did.
bootleg money.
Oh yeah,
the-
yeah. I'd imagine I packed him his actual, cash sort of as it stands.
True, but that's different from.
Oh yeah. No, I see.
That's different
The ones
from.
I
there's
delivered.
a certain amount.
Yeah, copper.
Yeah, certain amount of those. Where are those anyway?
I don't know.
You gave them back.
Yeah,
You did. You
Treasury.
properly did give them back.
I gave it to a soldier who said that he was going to give it to Sir Petrin. I don't know when he went after that, however.
The soldiers are terrified and obedient. They would.
Okay,
They would do it.
then yes,
Yeah.
I gave them back.
Yeah.
Or
They were
delivered
well
them.
aware that they better stick with this guy. That nothing is going to go well for them otherwise.
Yeah.
So that was effective.
It did.
Yeah.
David should probably know the refugee situation. The alchemist Petrain. He hasn't come back, and as far as Oswin knows, she's assuming the monster got him sort of without actually knowing in detail. But that's as far as she has heard and sort of put things together. That's probably, unfortunately, what happened. He might be alive, but he's not in well set up. It's not there.
Yes,
And
monster.
potions, she doesn't. Yeah, she's assuming. Yeah, he's an alchemist. That presumably would have potions, but she hasn't heard anything about it. So he doesn't know anything about the potions.
Who's that?
Yeah, humor. Oh yeah, he's an agitated sort of entrepreneur and currently a soldier for the constable. He was working for the constable. He's sort of tasked with protecting me.
Gives him a really penetrating stare for just a moment, and then turns back to you and says, I have a very advantageous plan in mind.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that Petrin has not been seen since he went over to the marshes,
That is correct. Yes.
and that this monster did actually seem to be a reality,
Absolutely, I
That
have
they-
seen it.
and that, but there has been no talk of the mere dragons.
No. I mean, they probably do exist. I haven't heard anything.
I-
specific.
No, we don't mention that. We didn't mention that.
When
I think you mentioned they were something like that.
when you described the murders to
Mm.
me, I mentioned that I've seen them come out of the
Right.
mist with
Okay, yeah.
the train. So
yeah.
but that is, I believe, the only
Yeah.
talk of murders that have
Mm.
come from the
Right.
witnesses.
Oh yeah.
However,
and,
that's
and
fairly-
Oswald did hear
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and that's actually fairly significant.
Oh yeah.
Because it would let David know
Mm.
that Petrain did contact the murderers,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
which was part of their
Mm.
their plan.
Mm.
And it didn't seem to you, and based on what you're telling me, they weren't hostile to him.
That's not there. That's how she.
So he must have succeeded.
Mm-hmm. I assume so.
If we can get to those mer dragons,
Mm-hmm.
and he's thinking, still, I mean, what good would it do if Waseda is falling apart, and the whole region is going to, be chaos for a while. I can tell you back at Henway, they were talking about some pressure on Weseda to give up on Tormau. Not to the extent of actually attacking, but
Tariffs.
yeah. But of bringing some of the forces of the king to bear.
Yeah.
Because they seem to be recovering from some of the problems they've been having. He shrugs and says, well, it's either flee with nothing and a whole lot of empty promises unfulfilled, or for me to make what I can of what Petrain started, and for you to see what some really risky business dealings can look like.
Well, it would be a shame to leave promises unfulfilled, I believe. So we should probably go ahead. And I should add,
I think a few jars of a particular foul liquid will do a good job.
Huh? Yeah, sure. That's good.
Which is what Petrain had been carrying, and which has been utilized.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Should probably add to that thing that it's not completely empty-handed. I have something that belongs to you, but it's very might be in a shape. Speaking of mere dragons, if you know what I mean.
He says, "Oh, I assumed that we need that."
Oh yeah, I imagine it's very safe.
Good. He had assumed that you had brought that with you, and didn't insult you by asking.
Oh yeah, it's very good. It's so thoughtful.
So
actually, I think about this sort of the agric thing, we might, if we happen to run into them, do you think that this would be a problem? Their sort of misunderstanding regarding my participation in their religious rituals.
But you said that the high priest has come to a sad end.
Oh yes, unfortunately, yes.
I don't think you need to worry specifically regarding yourself anywhere except in Weseda. We are not going back there.
Oh, that's
reassuring. We are going to cut across from where they are, right? You are part way to Henway, so maybe about right there. He's talking about cutting across, go to get to the marshes.
Fitting enough, sort of a lowland sort of valley there.
So that is, it's not great terrain, but with some care, that would be your adventure.
Great.
To go and meet the Mere Dragons, and who knows, even possibly with their help, make your way all the way over here, which actually would, if I'm not mistaken, actually bring you into Kande.
Yep.
So actually, yeah, he's thinking of a full transfer over to Kande. And yeah, with that's a peak right there.
Yes.
So yeah, you'd have to go around here.
Yep.
I think that kind of concludes Osquin's saga to some extent. Yeah.
Until she meets the dragons, I suppose.
Right. But I want to kind of play out what happens now. Okay. Let's see your stealth. Let's see.
Why not?
That
Why
seems
not?
to be the...
It probably would be much more prudent to go about with rhetoric and try to...
Well, right. I know.
Yeah, and try to, you won't ever need to feel hungry again. But this is Fergal, and he's damn reckless. So I'm skulking about inside the tavern looking for someone appropriate to succeed.
Critically.
Very nice.
Still 39, but five is good.
You're going
I
to
work
have,
it.
You're going to have a room of zombies.
Yeah. That's the first one.
Then it spreads.
Yeah, no, but
Well, the
start
point-
here and then I have one over here and then it spreads.
In that room, it spreads now.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Well, the point was this wasn't a single action. I was treating stealth as your activity
Yeah.
throughout the whole.
Okay, the region or
Not the whole
Yeah,
region,
okay.
but this tavern.
yeah.
Right. So I'm not going to make you roll stealth
No.
for each,
Yeah.
movement you
No,
make.
sorry. I managed to get the drunk, one of the drunk ones.
Right, and
And
nobody
then another-
saw
yeah, and
that
then
you
another
did
one,
that,
and then,
and so
yeah,
you
kinda-
just walked around.
Yeah.
Oh, this is one of those really scary things,
Yeah.
like the touch.
Exactly.
Walk. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's- Oh man. So by the time that people start now, of course we're going to have a variable amount, statistically speaking. Even if we say 4 dice against, and then they would have an average of, they would have 3 dice for their will, as if they were rolled characters. You're not going to turn every one of them.
No.
But you will hit a few.
Yeah.
And the rules, I think, are a little odd in terms of exactly what, you're aiming at a morphin. No, sorry, gold morphin, right? You're aiming at gold morphin.
Yeah.
And it seems to me as though, since you're operating off of a miracle in the first place, we can treat this as an ongoing miraculous effect rather than just like a pure application of the spell as written. I'm not sure how long I'll let it be a miraculous effect, but I think that this is sort of your first real day on the job.
Yeah.
So
It will also increase exponentially with every
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah.
So it would be kind of difficult to actually roll it up. You have to roll a lot.
I have no intention of doing any such thing. I'm just going to go by the rule of large numbers.
I think
So,
I'm the one that has the aura.
right.
They only do it by biting or
Oh,
killing
I see,
people,
I see, yeah.
So it's more like classic zombie outbreak inside.
Right.
But I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Although the first one is probably not above, once it kind of orients itself, biting its neighbor.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So still though, it's there will be a few people who resist, and they are going to panic at them. Your stealth keeps them from organizing and turning upon you immediately. See, if you were just like super obvious about this, 2 or 3 people who resisted, 2 or 3 people who resisted would say, "My God, he's like deathing us."
Yeah.
So, and then they'll try to tackle you. But you seem to have avoided this fate.
Yes.
I don't see what else. I think your job here is done.
Yeah. So that's
By the time people panic and scream and start trying to do something about it, there's a couple of dead guys, chewing.
Munching on them.
Yeah.
So,
more bad guys.
Oh, this is terrible. This is like that. This is like that Queen of the Dead situation in that Korean zombie show. Where he's like sitting. Can't you even see it? Sitting at the table. Once it really gets going, sitting at the table.
Yep, definitely.
Yes,
That's a Virgo thing to do.
As they're all, as it all kind of falls apart around.
Cool. Yeah.
Mm.